Orgasmic enlightenment, where the sexual and spiritual come together. I'm Kim Anami, and I'm a holistic sex and relationship coach and a vaginal weightlifter. In this show, we explore all things intimate. I believe that our sexual energy is life force, creative energy, and we can use it to shape our worlds, strengthen our relationships, and self-actualize. I blend the most avant-garde information from neuroscience, ancient sexual practices like Tantra and Taoism, to renegade wellness modalities to show you how to create gourmet sex in your lives. Come one, come all. Your vagina is money. In today's episode, I want to talk about the connections between vaginas and money and career. So let's begin with the question: is your career a reflection and expression of your deepest gifts? There is a word in Sanskrit called dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, and it means the essential nature of a person that is translated into their life's work. Your dharma is what you were born to do. You do it naturally and you do it well. Would you say that you are living your dharma, that your vocation is something that you'd be doing, whether or not that you were paid, because it's simply who you are? When we begin to express our sexual energy, channeling it out into the world, we naturally gravitate to things and manifest them that are closer to our true selves. This applies to friends, lovers, and especially to our careers. We easily let go of jobs or activities that are clearly no longer in resonance with us, and we begin instead to birth the things that are the truest expressions of who we really are. Sex, money, and creativity are all second chakra issues. What I've seen over the decades of doing this work, both on myself and with others, is that the more they inhabit their sexual energy and they clear the blocks to its free expression, the more they self-actualize, meaning they become the most authentic versions of themselves. Any kind of false armor and programming that they've picked up over the years easily falls off of them, and they emerge a clearer, brighter, more beautiful version of who they really are. And this naturally leads to them seeking out people and activities reflecting their deeper truth. Their talents and their gifts begin to shine unstoppably out of them, and they attract and manifest opportunities in greater alignment with this deep truth of who they are, and they are now effortlessly being. So I am using words like effortless, unstoppable, and naturally because I want to make this very clear. The outdated mentality of having to slog at a job that you hate in order to pay the bills and only be free on the weekends to do the things you love is gone. At least when you become sexually self-realized, it is. When you are truly connected to this energy, your creative life force bursts out of you and you begin to create and recreate the world around you from your genitals. This is where your genetic reproductive blueprint is housed, your true essence. And this translates into new careers and financial abundance. You magnetize wealth to the point where it just falls into your lap because your lap is what attracted it. I think that's really where that expression came from, unbeknownst to us, but beknownst to me and now to you. So the foundation of the whole Anami philosophy around sex is that once you liberate your sexual energy, it acts as it was meant to, as a powerful, creative, manifesting force in the world. As I said, your sexual energy is your own unique, personal genetic blueprint. This is the essence of who you are. And this is the greatest secret that has been kept from humans in this day and age, and probably for the past millennia. All of the obscuring and censoring around sex is to hide this fact that the greatest power and healing source available to us, the reproductive power of the universe, is mainlined through our genitals. And the only things that prevent us from accessing this power are the false beliefs, programming, and then the trauma. They get layered on top of this free flow, and they taint and they mutate how this energy is expressed. However, in its natural state, this energy is a divine turbo boost and compass in your life. I often say, my vagina, my compass, and I often use the hashtag powered by vagina. I give all the credit to my vagina. I give credit where credit is due. The creator of my life All the things that I have manifested in my world have come from there. So I use vision boards and I use lists of what I want to create in my life. And I do these at least once a year, and I put effort into this. And when I look back at what I would say set out to be a major turning point for me, which was back in 2011, 2012, around the time I began all of my online salons, began to kind of transmit the work that I had and migrate it into the online world. This is when I began seeing, pretty much everything that was on those lists has been fulfilled. I have created my dream life. And I look back, when I go back periodically to see what's there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I really have ticked off all these boxes. So how do you do it? So for me and my story and how I see this relevant to sexual energy, I've been on a path of conscious growth and transformation since my mid-teens. I have always been fascinated with the idea of how do we change, how do we grow, and have also been very much in tune with my sexual energy. So from my teenage years, I began exploring everything from meditation to transpersonal psychology. When I was in high school, I would be going to the university library in my city to get out books on the great philosophers and poets and thinkers. Like, that's what I did for fun. That was me. So I took responsibility for my own health as well by studying herbal healing and homeopathy, and it got very deeply into personal growth. Like, I've talked about how I recognized the fallacy of the allopathic medical system. I'm like, they don't really seem to know anything about anything, let alone know how to heal anyone. And then was, wonderfully then introduced to these other pathways of alternative health. And then sex, right? So from my early sexual encounters, my experiences were that sex allowed this massive energetic portal to open to the universe. And this is when we had access to it, was during sex. And of course, this is true, right? This is how we create new life. This is how life moves from one dimension or plane of existence to another, is via the womb, the vagina, through sex. And so this whole quest for wisdom and knowledge has always been a part of my life. And then through sex, I began to realize that I would feel more self-realized after these cataclysmic sexual encounters that I had. And I had some rock star partners early on who could literally fuck the shit out of me. And that is exactly what they did, meaning they fucked the shit and the demons and the crap right out of my system. And my vagina became my crucible. This was the place where I could heal and transform my pain and my trauma. And in so doing, shed these layers of the me I thought I was to become the me I truly am. And I did this all through my vagina and having tons of cervical orgasms. This was my salvation and one of the greatest healing tools I have had in my life. My vagina, my cervix. So what we want is an awakened and activated vagina. When the vagina is functioning as it is meant to, as your divine mover and shaker, bliss and orgasm giver, and the creator of your world, you become unstoppable. You have now unblocked and unleashed the pure flow of this turbocharged life force, creative energy into every part of your existence. You can integrate your sexual energy into everything that you do. When women are dissociated from their vaginas, and this counts for men as well, but today we're talking about women, they are also cut off from the natural and enlivening flow of their sexual energy. When the vagina is brought back to life, this vital life force is available to you to channel into all parts of your existence. So when you are expressing yourself and giving your gifts to the world, when you really show up in your life and you put yourself out there, the universe responds in kind. It rewards you. Energy comes back to you in the form of abundance and wealth and all the things your heart desires. This is the great universal exchange. So the more you get in touch with your sexual energy, remember this is your creative blueprint, the essence of who you are, the more you get in touch with yourself. And then your work becomes more of an extension of you. You self-realize in all parts of your life. So when you turn on your vagina, you turn on your life. As you wake it up and activate it to be the divine birther of all things, it does exactly that. It magnetizes opportunities and people, ideas and wealth right into your lap, because remember, that's exactly what attracted them. So I have told stories of how, even for me, back in the day, I was doing a combination of life and career and intimacy coaching. And I would have people come to see me. There's a great example of a woman who came, and she really was looking for career coaching. She was working in an area where it was actually a government job. So it was bureaucratic as you could get, dry as you could get. And she knew she wasn't happy. And she was like, but I'm single, but that doesn't matter. I feel good about that. I don't really want to focus on that. And I said, well, look, here's my advice. I want you to go fuck yourself. And I mean that with all sincerity. I want you to go home and I want you to have sex with yourself every day for the next, whatever it was, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, as part of your home plate, right? Because I thought, even though she's not thinking it, I want her to get her sexual energy engine revving up, right? Because she's stagnant, and that is showing up in this career that's really out of alignment with who she is, or she's feeling that, right? Some people might be perfectly happy in a job like that, and maybe that is the expression of who they are, but it wasn't for her, and she knew that, right? So she begins doing that and seeing changes in her life, and within weeks, or maybe it was a month, not that long, she just quit her job out of the blue. I mean, we had vaguely talked about things that she might like to do in health and wellness. She was thinking about doing this holistic nutrition course and stuff. And then she just lets me know that she has quit her job and she's going to do this yoga teacher training in Thailand, right? And I was like, we didn't do all this career testing, questionnaires, what's your personality, right? None of that. I'm just I'm the best career coach that ever lived, because I'm just go fuck yourself. And she did. And that's what happened. That energy got revved up in her. It took light and force. And then it became a force of its own, right? In terms of pushing her into the life and the person she's really meant to be as she inhabits that energy. And then there's another story about this guy who came to me for business coaching, right? And in the scope of an intake, right? As a coach who does general stuff, you would look at all parts of that person's life, right? What's going on everywhere. And in his marriage, I think he hadn't had sex with his wife in 2 years, and they were not in a good place, but he's I don't want to talk about that. I really want to focus on building this new business, but he can't work at home because the atmosphere is so tense with his partner because of all this unresolved stuff, right? And I'm like, look, we need to address this. And he's like, no, I don't want to. I'm here for career coaching. And I said, I can't let this go. This is a connection that we have to look at. This is really obvious to me, but it wasn't to him. And he was blocking that out. So he actually left. He didn't want to work with me then. And then a year later, he's like, can I come see you for some intimacy coaching? So I guess he started to make the connections. I think he might have been on my newsletter and started to just take in slowly these concepts of the relationship between the stalling out in his business and his whole work life, and the fact that his relationship was really, really, really stalled out as well. So, and then even to extend these examples to me, so back then I was doing this combination of these 3 different things, and it became clear to me that what really fired me up the most, what really turned me on, was the sex and the intimacy coaching. And you have to remember that this was 12, 13, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, nobody was doing this stuff back then, right? And so the term holistic sex and relationship coach, I created that, right? Me and my vagina are the OG. But here's how the truth of the universe works. As I let go of the parts of my work that weren't as exciting for me, like the career coaching one, which I didn't even really do, right? My version of career coaching was go fuck yourself. Right? So it's already, the truth is already creeping in there. But it was also about me stepping into the boldness and courageousness of really throwing myself out there as a sex and intimacy coach, and being the whole irreverent and reverent person I am, and channeling that out into the world. And the world gave back to me. And I tell this story, the very first podcast episode I did is called Origins and Orgasms. And I laid out in a little bit more detail my whole journey and evolution, how I became who I am and what I do today. And there was this really pivotal moment where I was asked to give a talk it's called Pachachka. It looks like Picha Kucha. And it's this event that's held all over the world where they ask creators in different cities to give I think it's a 6-minute presentation, and you get 20 seconds on 20 slides to talk about your creative influences and your inspiration as an artist or creator. It could be an architect or a designer. And for me, it was this sex and relationship coach. And I was talking to a friend, and I was like, some of the things that inspire me are kind of crazy, like eating cum, right? Like eating cum gives me tons of inspiration. I run to my computer and I just write, because like cum is this fucking giant, insane, brilliant, genius cocktail straight to the brain, especially when you eat it, right? And she was laughing, and she's like, go for it, just go for it. Because that was my question, right? Do I fully go for it or not? And so I fucking did, right? Like I had this beautiful, beautiful silhouette picture of a woman who's got like kind of cum on her face and her chest. It might sound a bit, I don't know, porn-like, but it was really artful and silhouetted and beautifully, beautifully done in this kind of outline of a cock, right? And then there was some other stuff like related, just me, right? Full-blown, uncensored me. And the crowd went wild, right? Like it was a group of there's like 1,200 people in the audience, and everybody gets up and they're doing their very stead, much more conservative, list of their inspirations kind of thing. And I'm up there and like, eat cum. And just everybody was howling and laughing and screaming. And it was just so much fun. And that was such a wonderful affirmation to me about the validity and the power of truly putting my truth out into the world, uncensored, right? Like I am this combination of reverent, as in I see the sacred, and irreverent. I'm very playful, and I find great humor in subverting paradigms and being provocative, right? That I just find it fucking hilarious. And I'm very unpolitically correct, back when that was considered funny and you didn't have a gang of underfucked fucking orcs chasing you around the internet screaming at you. That's been my way, right? And that's how I think that's a very liberating way to be able to communicate about sex, is to fully acknowledge the sacredness of it, but also to play and have fun and present with humor. And some of my greatest viral campaign ideas, like let's say a hashtag things I lift with my vagina, my legendary Instagram campaign, that was exactly that, right? Very playful, humorous. So instead of these headlines like, women don't pee your pants as much, try this. It was like, woman adventurer travels around the world lifting objects with her vagina, right? Which was just like, what in the world is that? And the message is still there. It's just done in a much more playful way. And so that's really me. I have a really creative, artistic side, and I weave that into everything I do, right? The creative ideas in my work are pretty much all mine. I have a wonderful team who supports me and I get some input from them, but most of the stuff is truly channeled out from my vagina. So following that, my business grew, my income grew, and then my whole creative expression was fed by me living more and more in fuller alignment with my truth. And like I said, there was a refining process where I let go of some of the parts of the work that I didn't like quite as much and really embraced what I did like, love that much. And then the more I put myself out there and took chances, writing, offering workshops, building a bigger online presence, blogging, speaking, what have you, right? Then it all came together, because the universe rewards truth and the universe rewards courage. And one of the currencies of the universe is money, is cash, is energy, right? And you can derive all of these things, the truth and the courage and the creativity, all from your vagina. And then this is where the tsunami guarantee comes in, that every woman, and of course, man, but today we're talking about women, every woman can do this. Every woman can access these creative gifts and genius, the creative brilliance that is her essence, right? Every person's essence. Everyone can have a ping pong shooting vagina. I did an Instagram live the other day and one woman commented, "I want ping pong balls, not diapers." Yes, every woman can. She just needs the right tools. All right, so if you are in a place where you feel like your work and your finances are not an expression of your truest self and your gifts, and remember, just like I said, money is the way that the universe affirms to you that you are on the right path. When you are truly giving your unique and your individual gifts to the world, then here's what I suggest, okay? Step number 1, rev up your sexual engine, just like I suggested to that woman to go fuck herself, right? So you can do this if you're single through, I would suggest kicking it off with a self-pleasuring challenge of daily for 3 weeks, 4 weeks would be great, or sex dates with your partner if you are in a relationship, but make it gourmet. So I'm very clear about the differences between junk food sex and gourmet sex. One of them is going to give you energy and contribute to the growth and evolution of your entire life. So I have a wonderful YouTube video that talks about gourmet sex. I think it's called gourmet sex, and why it's so essential to really harness consciously your sexual creative energy instead of just diminishing it and depleting it, ejecting it out of you, which is what most people do through your average junk food sex. I'd say number 2 would be start incorporating activities into your day that bring you joy and bliss if you don't already. So for example, maybe you don't feel like you can quit your current job right now. All right, so after hours and on weekends, begin to bring in more of the things that you love. And it could be really simple, right? Even if they aren't related to a career path or making you money, by putting yourself and creating the vibration of what you love in your life, then you will help to magnetize more of those circumstances to you, especially with a turned on and a magnetic vagina. And so that brings us to use a jade yoni egg. The jade egg is the best tool that you can use to activate the vagina to be the creative, manifesting, and birthing vessel it is meant to be. You de-numb the vagina and begin to integrate its true magnetic power into your life. You strengthen it so that it becomes this vibrant, alive, pulsating pleasure center of your existence, right? My compass. And so this means that you can tap into your sexual, creative, life force energy at will, because instead of your vagina being some numb, vacant, dissociated part of you, it is fully integrated and becomes your ecstasy compass. It is full of so much pleasure that it attracts more of that to you. Like attracts like, right? This is a great spiritual law of the universe. And you will open the secrets of the universe, the life force that is responsible for the creation of everything, and now have it available to you. And it all starts by going inside. Deep inside through the magical Pandora's box portal of your vagina. The Vaginal Kung Fu Salon is open for registration. In the VKF Salon, you will learn how to convert your sexual energy into creative energy to fuel your life, work, and relationships. You will learn how to increase the magnetic power of your vagina and your womb to attract your deepest desires and learn how to birth your reality into existence. And yes, you will build a lubricating, ejaculating vagina that can shoot ping pong balls, give your man a hand job, and give you multiple vaginal orgasms. Come one, come all. Registration closes tonight, Friday, February the 12th at midnight PST. Go to kimanomi.com, look for Sexual Savant Salons, and then click on Vaginal Kung Fu.